Tabitha Brown for the return of child support she fraudulently collected.
Order. All rise. That's case number 328 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat.
Mr. Brown, this is your daughter, and I'm sure you have some reason that you perceive as a good one for suing her. I'm not talking about the legitimacy of your claim. I'm talking about the fact that you are suing her at all. But this is what I perceive to be the situation. Tell me if I'm mistaken. Pursuant to your divorce decree, you are supposed to pay for your daughter's education if she is a full-time student.
Correct.
Is there a finite age when that stops?
As long as she is continuing to attend school, she is eligible to receive child support up until the age of 21.
21.
Yes.
And according to you, you were under the impression that your daughter was a student continuously after she graduated from high school. How old are you now?
I'm 20 years old.
In fact, your daughter was not attending school on a full-time basis after she graduated from high school, but took off, according to her, a couple of semesters because she had a child and she had to regroup. And you didn't know that she wasn't attending school. You continued to pay the child support, and you want her to return to you the money that you paid while she was not in school.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you concede you were not in school.
I was not in school for 2 terms.
2 terms is how many months?
It was a total of 5 months.
And what was your child support each month?
$343.20 a month.
Did you tell your father you were not in school?
No, in fact, we haven't even spoken for about 5 years.
So you didn't tell him that you were not in school?
No.
So you tell me, Ms. Brown, why you think you don't owe him this money?
My father hasn't been in my life for about 5 years.
This is not Dr. Phil. This is a court.
The only reason why I did not tell him is because the first term I took off was because I was due to have my child at the end of that term. I would miss finals, which means I would have to retake the classes. And in order for me not to have to pay for those classes twice, I decided to take the term off. And the second term I took off was because I was recouping from my cesarean section.
I understand your reasons.
Yes.
But, you know, we're dealing with a contract, so you have to pay him back for those 5 months. My question to you, Mr. Brown, is why would you sue her over this money?
When she originally graduated from high school in May of '09, she was eligible to be off, per the state requirements, up to 4 months for a summer break. The school that she eventually did start, the next term actually started in July. She did not start that term. I did not find out that she was not attending school until October of that year.
Just a second.
Okay.
Mr. Brown, your daughter says she took off 2 terms. She said it was 5 months. That's not my question. My question is, under the terms of your divorce decree, she owes you the money. I assume that you've been paying child support for a long time, right?
Correct, 10 years.
As well you should. She's your child.
Yes.
I don't understand why you're suing her.
We do not have any contact.
Did you think that this would help?
No, I didn't think this would help, but I thought that this might enable her to realize the responsibility of her actions.
Why suing her, do you believe, would suggest to a 20-year-old who has already made the mistake of having a baby when she's not financially or emotionally prepared to be a parent? I assume you live with your mother?
I do.
Now you're back in school, so I assume your mother takes care of your baby.
She does when I'm at school, yes.
Of course. So because of your irresponsibility, your mother is now taking on the responsibility again of being a parent. So your suing her is not going to make her more responsible.
No, it's not, Your Honor.
So then you just have to explain to me, Mr. Brown, something that I can understand as to why over, at most, $1,700 or $1,800, you're suing a child. How many children do you have?
I have 2 children.
How old are they?
One is 23 and one is 20.
And the 23-year-old is your brother?
Yes, my half-brother. We don't speak.
You don't speak?
I do not speak to any of his family.
The 23-year-old boy you see?
Occasionally.
What's occasionally, Mr. Brown?
He was in Germany in the military, and he's recently got back, but he has had problems with his marriage and his life.
Well, prior to his going to Germany, did you live with him?
Yes, I raised him.
And then he went to Germany, and then he came home, and now you have little contact.
That is correct.
So, Mr. Brown, you have 2 children with whom you have no contact. Did you ever say, maybe I better look inside myself?
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, again, I'm not a therapist, but I have children. I actually speak to most of them on at least a weekly basis. Some of them I speak to twice a day, and they're twice her age. If I wasn't in contact with all my children, I don't think that I could justify it and say there's something wrong with my children as a parent. So we come back to the fact that you think your daughter may owe you money, but it sounds to me as if she's trying, despite some missteps, to put herself back on track. Why would you interfere with that?
Your Honor, when I found out that she wasn't going to school, I decided that I would go ahead and file the objection to stop the child support, which happened. I told my wife and myself that if she went back to school and left well enough alone and did not reinstate the child support, that I would call it a wash, that it would be even. But under the direction of whoever's influencing her life, she decided to go ahead and stick it to me again for more child support.
Mr. Brown, what kind of stick it to you again? She's 20 years old. She went back to school. That's why your children don't talk to you, sir. You have a new wife?
Yes.
That's why your children don't talk to you, because you refer to it as sticking it to you again. You're supposed to pay child support if you have children, sir.
I understand that, and I've been paying regularly and on time, no deadbeat dad, for 10 years.
Big deal! So what? You think that you deserve a medal for that, Mr. Brown?
No.
You don't deserve a medal for that. And if I had a child who made a misstep and became pregnant, took time off to have a baby, had a cesarean, says, all right, maybe I can turn my life around. I'm still only 20 years old and I'm going to go back to school and finish. As a parent, I would say, what can I do to help you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She's the child. You're the parent. You're supposed to make it work, not the child. It gets very lonely as you get older, sir.
And later today,
Something's wrong with him. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether he takes prescription medication, non-prescription medication. I'm just telling you that there's something wrong with him.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Brown says his daughter, Tabitha Brown, owes for the return of child support she fraudulently collected.
Okay.
Your Honor,
You have to pay him because the law says you have to pay him.
this man demanded a DNA test after 20 years.
Listen to me. There's a reason why his children don't talk to him. But this is a court. A court gave your father the parameters of his child support obligation. Is he now paying you again?
Yes, he is, but he's in
Correct.
arrears.
Well, then the arrears will eventually be paid. You
Your
think
Honor.
that this is going to make it better?
Well, I was just going to tell you that they have credited him some of the money that he is allegedly.
Oh, well, that's important. How
Yes.
much have they credited him, Miss Brown?
They credited him in June and May a total of $234.89.
And then the other,
Stand up.
in July, they credited him $234.89 out of that month for July. But they also credited him another $171 in June.
Did you receive those credits, sir?
No, ma'am, they reapplied them when she reinstated the child support.
What do you mean they reapplied them?
They kept the money when she reinstated child support. They applied that to the current new child support. I have the 10-year summary right here with this year's rate.
I'd like to see it, please.
I have a page showing that in July, when they reinstated his child support, that his balance was actually $234 in a credit.
I got
so
it.
he didn't have to
I
pay
got
that
it.
money.
Miss Brown, I think that your father makes a terrible mistake to bring this lawsuit. I think that in the long term, he has 2 children and he has no communication with them for whatever reason. It's his fault. If you don't speak to a child, it's your fault, not the child's fault. And he has another child that evidently after he raised doesn't speak to him, which doesn't speak well of his parenting. But my hands are tied from a legal perspective, because from a legal perspective, if you were not in school on a full-time basis, you were not entitled to collect money from him. I don't think that you owe him what he would like, which is $2,700. I think that you owe him $1,400, and I'm giving you credit for what you say was deducted by child support. Mr. Brown, it gets very lonely as you get older, sir. How many wives have you had?
2 wives.
He's on his third marriage.
You've had 2 ex-wives.
No. I remarried my first wife.
When?
5 years ago, which is what stopped communication with my daughter. Not my choice.
Just a second. She's the child. You're the parent. You're supposed to make it work, not the child, Mr. Brown. And your daughter's got to give you $1,400. I think it's a big mistake if you take it. What I would say to her is, take that money. You have a boy or a girl?
I have a girl.
Take that money, put it in a bank account for my granddaughter. Let it grow until it's time for her to go away to college, and then tell her it's from her grandfather. She's responsible to give you the money. You're going to be a very lonely old man, Mr. Brown. That's all.
Party's executed. You may step out.
He's a deadbeat. He has nothing to do with me because of his wife.
It wasn't my choice to cut off communication with my daughter. It was her mother's.
I decided that if he was going to be with that woman, that he should not have contact with me because she treats me badly.
My daughter has been brainwashed by her mother since we got our divorce 10 years ago.
I haven't seen this man in 5 years.
I don't think I'll be a lonely old man.
I've tried to reconnect with him many times, and he has nothing to do with me.
There's nothing I can do about it.
I hope he just leaves me alone.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wright versus Thomas. Step forward.
Delight Wright is suing her ex-boyfriend, Gregory Thomas, for a $1,000 loan and for the cost to store his Jaguar.
Mr. Thomas, what year Jaguar is parked in Miss Wright's garage?
Well, Your Honor, I had it towed there.
I asked you for a year. What year Jaguar is parked in her garage?
2001.
In whose name is the car? Look at me. In whose name is the car?
Donna's.
And who is that?
A friend of mine.
And what are you doing with Miss car?
I was buying it from them, Your Honor.
What do you mean you were buying it from him?
I'm buying it from them, and it tore up on me.
What does that mean? You were buying it from them and it tore up on you. I don't understand that. English, please.
It tore up on me, Your Honor.
Shh. English. You buy a car, you don't buy a car. I don't understand what you mean. You were buying a car.
I bought it, and it tore up on me.
All right, maybe I'm not. What does tore up mean? He doesn't know what it means.
Okay,
I thought it was a car term. I have no idea what tore up means.
Okay, it's not operating. The engine is not operating.
You mean it broke down?
Yes, it broke down.
Well, if you bought it from him, why don't you have it titled in your name? Did you pay him for it?
I haven't finished paying it for it, Your Honor.
Does Mr. know where the car is? It's not an answer, Thomas.
No.
Is he looking for you?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
Why not?
I've been talking with them about that. I was going to get it fixed and get it taken care of.
How long has it been in Miss Wright's garage?
A year and a half.
Something's wrong with him. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether he takes prescription medication, non-prescription medication. I'm not sure. I'm just telling you that there's something wrong with him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What was your relationship with Mr. Thomas at the time?
He actually was my lover.
So it was sort of easy for you to believe him?
Well, he's very convincing. He's very...
Not me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
हेलो, तो कैसे हैं आप लोग? उम्मीद करता हूँ आप लोग ठीक ठाक होंगे। और आज का व्लॉग हम शुरू करते हैं। चलिए बगैर किसी देरी के और शुरुआत करते हैं अपने इस नए व्लॉग की। सबसे पहले आप लोग को कहना चाहता हूँ कि यार सपोर्ट करना है आप लोगों ने मुझे, क्योंकि मैं नया व्लॉगिंग स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ। तो आप लोगों ने मुझे सपोर्ट करना है, दिल से सपोर्ट करना है। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब और वीडियो को लाइक ज़रूर करना है, ताकि आपका भाई आने वाले व्लॉग्स अच्छे व्लॉग्स बनाऊँ, ताकि आप लोग व्लॉग्स को देखें, मोटिवेट हो मेरे व्लॉग्स से। आप लोग भी शुरुआत करें। मैं ज़रूर बार कामयाब होऊंगा तो आप लोग भी कामयाब हो ही जाओगे मेरे व्लॉग को देख के। तो आप लोगों ने प्यार देना है, सपोर्ट करना है मुझे, और दिल से आप लोग की सपोर्ट की ज़रूरत है। और ये है मेरा छोटा सा जहाँ मैं काम करता हूँ, ये वो जगह है, आप लोग देख सकते हैं। जो ये देखिए कितना खूबसूरत, मतलब कितना प्यारा ये दरख्त। इस दरख्त के नीचे हर किसी का दिल चाहता होगा कि यार बैठ के यहाँ पे हसीन शाम गुजारें। और तो थैंक यू सो मच। सब्सक्राइब करें चैनल को और लाइक वीडियो को ज़रूर कीजिएगा, सपोर्ट करें। ओके।